Hey everyone, I am live. I'm just gonna let this go live stream. Waiting for YouTube. Hey everyone! Firstly, I am really sorry if this lags at all. I did a practice live run just a couple of hours ago and it was a little bit laggy. So hopefully it's not the case now. I also changed up my equipment just to make sure that it wasn't laggy, streaming directly from my computer, but I'm not sure if that works either. So anyways, just let me know how it goes. I'll just keep trying my best to make sure that it doesn't lag in the future and that these live streams get better and better for you guys. But I'm really excited for today's topic because we're talking about oral presentations. I have a few things I want to talk to you guys today, mainly including a story about how I achieved an A+ in my Year 12 SAC. So that was the big speech that you have to do for the year. You only do one oral presentation, and I managed to get an A+. So I want to talk to you guys about that. I wanted to say hello to everyone who is here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really looking forward to answering? No, Lisa, that's not English. To answer all of your questions. So hi Kizzy, hi Prue, hi Steph. Okay, yeah, so everyone's saying that I'm really laggy. I'm really sorry, I don't quite know how to fix that. But yes, please bear with me. Okay, so while you guys keep asking your questions and I'll choose with you guys. Oh, okay, so on YouTube on my end, I can see that the stream health is orange instead of green, which I think means that it's quite laggy. Maybe what I'll do is switch to 4G. Should I do that? I might do that really quickly, but it might just drop out. So let's see if this will work. Have you guys been watching the tennis? I have been watching the tennis and I'm going to the Oz Open tomorrow and I'm so excited because it's the semi-finals. I've never been to the Oz Open before, so I can't wait. I am seeing the newcomer, Hyun Chung, I think that's how you say his name, and Federer, so that's going to be pretty exceptional. Okay guys, I'm switching to my 4G, so if this drops out, bear with me. Okay, here we go. It's going to start. Hi, I'm back. Okay, I'm just going to check to see if we've got the green light. Hopefully, again, this isn't too laggy. Let's just do our best, shall we? I'm on my 4G, so yeah, we'll just work with that. So basically, oh, thanks guys for being so kind. Everyone's like, don't worry about it, don't stress. Yay, we're back. Okay, so before I launch into some of your questions, I wanted to tell you guys about how I managed to achieve an A+ in my oral presentation, because I feel like a lot of your questions actually revolve around how do you stay confident, how do you actually do it. And when I was in high school, I was actually a really shy kid. Like with my friends, of course, I was really extroverted and quite loud and sometimes quite, disobedient in class. But in general, if you had me in front of a group of people or if I had to talk in front of people, then in that case, I became really sheltered and just went back into my shell, and I really did not like speaking publicly. So when it came to Year 12, I acknowledged the fact that there was going to be an oral presentation that I had to do whether or not I liked it. And so I said to myself, you can either just go all in on this and just try to do as well as you can, or you can just stay the way that you've always been doing it. And that's just, kind of getting nervous beforehand and stuttering your way through and just not being that confident. And what I told myself was that everyone gets nervous. Okay, maybe one or two people, are pretty confident when it comes to public speaking, but majority of people really don't like oral presentations. So you're not alone in this. So acknowledging this one fact actually made me, in a funny way, more confident, knowing that others shared my feelings towards speeches. And so with my presentation, basically, I wrote it up and I just made sure that I sounded as confident as possible, because I knew that the best people who do really well in speeches are the ones who believe in their message, and they deliver it in a way that makes you go, oh wow, like this person actually really really advocates for whatever they're advocating for. So for me, it was a matter of becoming an actor, knowing that inside I would be nervous, and that that's something that I just knew was going to happen. And so I didn't try to, force myself not to be nervous, because I knew it was just part of it. But I thought to myself, how am I going to get over the nerves, or how am I going to deal with the nerves so that I can still do as well as possible? So with that in mind, I memorized my speech. I spent, I think, about a week in advance memorizing my speech, which meant that organizational wise, I had prepared for my speech and written everything up at least a week in advance, and then I started memorizing bit by bit per day. By the end of that week, and I think the day before my presentation, I had memorized the entire thing. I didn't need cue cards, although I did bring in cue cards with me. What I tried to do was I wanted to be able to spend time not looking at the paper, because as soon as I'm, hidden behind a sheet, you're not gonna vibe with me, right? So I knew that I wanted to avoid looking at my cue cards as much as possible, which is why I memorized my speech, and I focused on delivering it in the most confident way possible. Even if I wasn't confident, I knew that if I sounded confident, it would come across as the fact that I was confident. And so that's one big reason why I think I actually ended up doing so well. When I went up on in front of the class and I did my speech, I could tell that I engaged my reader, not my readers, I engaged my audience, so my fellow students and my teachers, in a more in a much faster way and immediate way than other students that had presented their speeches before me, because nobody had really done anything different. Everyone just kind of stood there with their piece of paper and they just kind of said what they wanted to say, but they didn't actually, stand up, in front of everyone, put their cue cards down and just started talking in a way that was really powerful. So I would just recommend that you practice in front of the mirror, in front of your parents if you would. And honestly, like that was my trick. That was why I did so well. So let me get into answering some of your questions. I had Joey, who was here early on. So, hi Joey, thank you for asking your question. I'm actually going to answer it because I think it's one of the, it's an excellent question. So Joey asks, how do you have confidence in yourself and believe that your oral presentation is good enough without caring about the thoughts of others and the topic? So I think, again, I've spoken about confidence a little bit already. And even if you feign confidence, you will somehow actually trick yourself into being confident. So rather than me going, oh, guys, I think that maybe you should, memorize your sacs, or yeah, just try your best to memorize your speech. as opposed to me going like this, speaking to you with a different body language, being more assertive with what I believe. I think that you should memorize your speech. You can already tell the difference between the two. So I think with confidence, it also comes down to the fact that you don't need to care about the thoughts of others, because you are entitled to your opinion, and the whole point of this oral presentation is to show others what you believe and advocate for a topic and an argument for that topic that you side with, and no one can take that away from you. So keep that in mind, and I think that would be a great way to put forward that mindset when you go and do your oral presentation. So yeah, you also say that you're doing gender pay gap. I think that's an excellent topic. I think it's super relevant, especially with everything that's been going on recently with gender pay, and also say in Hollywood. I think that's a fantastic topic. So thanks guys again for being here. I want to share with you guys a couple of ideas that I think would also be great. So if you watched my previous video, then you'll know that I had actually collated not 80, oh my gosh, that's way too many, over 20 oral presentation topics, and I had linked it in the description below. So if you haven't gone and had a look at that, then it should be a card somewhere in this live stream for you to click through. But over the past week or so, I've actually discovered some new oral presentation ideas that I think would be really great. So I've just written them down. The first one that I wrote down is, should tennis organisers rethink workload for Australian Open players? So what happened this week was we had quite a few top tennis players drop out because of injuries, like Rafael Nadal. And so he retired from his quarterfinal due to his injury, and that has really posed the question of, are we working our tennis players too hard? And this is super relevant because it's happening right now. So if you're doing your speech really shortly, have a look into that one. The second one is, a lot of newspapers are starting to bring up the issue of a sugar tax again. So sugar tax is basically, should we charge an extra tax, so an extra fee on top of, say, soft drinks, because soft drinks contributes to obesity, it's not good for our health, and we need to find a way to stop people from spending too much money on things that aren't good for them. And so this issue has been going on for a few years, but sometimes it dies down, but it has come back. So over the past week, quite a few people have been writing about it, so that's another topic. My third one is also the fact that Australia Day is literally around the corner. It's tomorrow. So questions of, should we actually celebrate Australia Day, have been argued quite a bit in the press, and you might have heard quite a bit about it. But with this idea, and with any of your oral presentation ideas, guys, remember that there are nuances to the topic. So you don't just have to do something as broad as, should we still celebrate Australia Day? What you could do is redefine it. So should we rename Australia Day is sort of on the same topic but slightly tweaked. Another one is, should we change the date of Australia Day? So again, it's still about Australia Day, but it's slightly different. So if you know that a lot of people in your class are doing the same topic, then one of the things you could do to try to make yours a bit more unique and original is to tweak that topic slightly. So how are you guys finding this live stream so far? I hope you've been finding it helpful. Okay, let's see what else you guys have been asking. Fardina, great question. What are other ways I can present my oral presentation other than just using cue cards? Girl, memorize it. Done deal. Mesh asks, should I just have dot points on my cue cards? This is a great question. Personally, for me, I told you guys that I memorized my speech, right? But what I did was I actually brought in my entire speech and I just kind of chopped it up. So I printed it on an A4 piece of paper and then I chopped up my paragraphs. The reason why I did that is because I knew that every single word in my oral presentation mattered. I had put in persuasive techniques literally everywhere. I littered the whole thing with it. I used repetition, rhetorical questions. I used positive and negative connotations. I used imagery. I used symbols. And because I knew that everything mattered, I didn't want to miss out on anything, that's why I brought in my entire thing. Having said that, I only looked at my cue cards once, and that's when I tripped up. So all of it was up in here. But if you want to do dot points and you're comfortable with dot points, I would just say do what works for you. You do you, you know? I did me, and I ended up getting an A+. You do you. Let's get you that A+ too. Woo! Okay. Prue asks, friends of mine who have scored A's and A+ in orals tend to shout in a loud, authoritative tone with confidence. How does someone who is nervous strongly deliver an oral, practice included? So I guess this kind of overlaps some of the questions before, and I guess my answer is the same. But to address the fact that people who shout in loud, authoritative tones with confidence, remember that you don't have to necessarily do it in this same way. You don't have to be super loud. You don't have to be authoritative, especially if you adopt a certain persona. So if you are not somebody who is like an authority, like someone in a position of leadership in the topic you're discussing, then you could, say for example, take on the persona of a student, like literally yourself, and chat to your friends in a more casual way, maybe even in a humorous way. And yet still you can do very, very well as long as you feel and are confident. But it doesn't have to be delivered in a loud, authoritative tone. Okay. Hi, Kat. Hi, Lily. Hi, Susanna. Okay. Prue asks, who am I rooting for in the Oz Open? I don't know who I'm rooting for. I want them both to win. So I'll be happy either way, whoever wins. Okay. Ooh, Steph says that, I've just lost it. For my oral in year 11, I did ticket scalping at concert venues. That's an excellent one. Great one, Steph. Okay. Ooh. Ruth says, memorizing the speech was the best decision for me. Yes, it was the best decision for me too. Okay, so I've got another question, also from Fadina. How do you engage the class in your introduction? So, great ways to engage the class in your introduction are just think about what would make you listen straight away and get hooked on. So for me, anecdotes are fantastic ways to start. Rhetorical questions are also fantastic ways to start. But also if you started off with imagine this, and then you go into a scenario, that's also a great way to start. But be more creative than me. Try to find other ways that you can engage people, and you can find sources through maybe TV shows that you really like or YouTube videos that you really like. Like, who hooks you guys on straight away and they don't just sit there and go, oh, hey, it's me again. So this is what I'm talking about today. Oops, I feel like I do that. But who actually gets you into it, and use them as inspiration. Okay. Another fantastic question. How do you pick a worthwhile topic? This is great because I actually wanted to talk to you guys about this. So, what topics should you guys choose? I've got a few pointers here. One, choose a topic that actually has multiple perspectives. So don't choose a topic where the answer is pretty obvious, and if you went another way about it, then it's very hard for you to argue. So, for example, should women be allowed to have abortions? I know this is a bit more of an old school one, but with this one, I guess this is just my personal opinion. I feel like the more obvious or the more accepted answer is yes, women should be allowed to have abortions. And so if you went against that, I feel like it's quite difficult to argue it, just because it's a topic that there is already, I guess, a generalized truth to it, or a general way that everyone already agrees with. So try to find a topic that has more nuances with it. So let's just say with the gender pay gap, with this one, there's still a lot of pros and cons with that topic and lots of different ways you could look at it. So you not only can say yes or no, but you can find different pathways on how to answer that yes and no. So whether or not it should it be about gender pay gap, in corporate world, or should it be about gender pay gap regarding women taking leave, like pregnancies. So that way, it's like the Australia Day topic that we were talking before, you find the nuances. Second thing is find a topic that you're passionate about. I think if you find a topic you are interested in, you will automatically become more confident in it because it's something that you actually believe in. So then you start to surpass that initial issue of confidence. The third thing is something that would interest your fellow students and teachers. So think about who you're presenting to and cater your topic towards them. So if you're talking to your teachers and you maybe want to do a topic about, I don't know, something that only really teenagers care about, maybe like Instagram or something, then maybe that's something that's not as relatable for your teachers and therefore won't really spark their interest. So have a think about that. Your audience is there and your teacher is going to gauge whether or not other people are actually going to be interested. So consider that. Fourth thing is choose a topic people will actually understand. So we have a lot of topics about coal mining, about taxes, about like reforms in government or politics. And whilst these might be topics you're really passionate about, just make sure they're also topics that people will probably be able to understand. I know that when I was in year 12, as soon as I heard tax and government and policies, I just kind of zoned out because I didn't know very much about that topic. And that's not the person's fault. It was literally just me. I wasn't interested. So either you circumvent that by choosing a topic that you know everyone can be engaged with, or two, explain the topic before you actually go into your arguments. So if you're actually going to talk about, let's say, coal mining and issues revolving around that, explain what is coal mining. I know it might sound really obvious, but sometimes we just need to point out the most obvious things to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Why is it an issue? Why is coal being in the news? And what is even coal used for? It might seem super obvious to you, but not necessarily to anyone else. So keep that in mind. And then I think I've got one more thing written down. Choose a topic, this is my last tip, choose a topic that not everyone else will do. So again, if you know that 10 other people in your class is doing or are doing a particular topic, maybe steer away from that. Kizzy asks, how do you get over the mental barrier of actually starting a presentation? Memorize it. I think obviously there is a main message to this live stream, but honestly, by memorizing, you know where to start, and you just have to remember to yourself the first sentence of your oral presentation before you actually stand up in front of everyone, and boom, there you go. I just feel like memorizing your speech just circumvents so many issues. Okay. Mahaze or Mars? Oh, I see you all the time, but every time I don't know how to pronounce your name. Let me know how to pronounce your name in the live stream. But thank you for being here again. And you ask, I think eye contact is important, but honestly, I just look at the wall. Don't worry about it. As long as you try to make eye contact. Let's just say if it's your students and your teacher. What I did was I looked at the students and I constantly moved from left, middle, right, and back the other way. And obviously not like this the entire time, not like a robot, but slowly I would try to engage with different people in the audience, including my teacher. And I think that's something that people tend to forget. They forget that their teacher is part of their audience, okay? It's okay if you end up looking at the wall, but just try your best to make eye contact. Steph says, do you actually have to do your presentation in front of the whole class? It's just up to your school. I had to do mine in front of my whole class. Cool. How are you guys finding the live stream? I hope you're enjoying this. Okay. Tiny asks, what do I do if I say the wrong line in the middle of an oral presentation? Awesome question. So, undoubtedly, there will be times where you will make a mistake. I remember really clearly one of my best friends in my class made a mistake and she just fumbled and she literally stopped and she just started stressing out. And she was like, she said to me, she mouthed to me, oh, what do I say next? And I didn't know what she was going to say next, but you could see that she was stressing out because she couldn't find her place. If you make a mistake or if you forget where you're at or you just mind blank, and I did mind blank once in my oral presentation, just stop, look at your cue cards, find where you're at, and then start. Take your time. I think that's a big thing. You feel a lot of pressure to move on straight away and to try to, move on from the fact that you stuffed up. But the best way to go about that is to approach the fact that you stuffed up with confidence. So take your time, slow down, find where you're at again. When you're ready, restart. Obviously, don't take 5 minutes to do that because you don't have enough time. But it's okay if you stuff up and your teacher understands, other students understand. But if you just behave in a way where it shows, oh, no problems, I'm not stressed about this, I'm just going to find where I am. Start again, move on as though nothing happened, you'll do great. Just reminding you guys, I had a mental blank, and so I had to do the same thing, and yet I still got an A+. So I can assure you that stuffing up is not going to be the forefront, or it shouldn't be the forefront of your worries if you can deal with it well. Cool. So Techie asks, you guys are asking fantastic questions, by the way. I'm so proud of you guys. Thanks for being here. I know it's summer and it's freaking 40 degrees outside, but you guys rock. So Techie asks, I'm wondering if having a PowerPoint or something visual helps enhance what you're talking about or if it distracts the audience. So in my opinion may be different from others. I did not use I did not use any visual aid. I didn't use a PowerPoint. That's because I did the topic of teenage binge drinking. And personally, I just didn't really feel like I needed a visual aid or that a visual aid would really help me that much. I felt that if I had a PowerPoint, not only would that make things harder for me because I'd get distracted by trying to do this and like looking at the PowerPoint, looking in front of everyone and trying to deliver my message in that confident, assured way. I also felt that it would distract people, that they'd just be looking at the PowerPoint instead of looking at me. And I knew that in order to convince my teacher that people were engaged with me, I needed them to look at me. So without a PowerPoint, I feel like I did quite well, and I do recommend most of my students not to use PowerPoints, but only in some situations, in some rare situations, I will recommend a PowerPoint. So if you are maybe talking about a situation that's really horrific and images will be really powerful in what you say, then yes, do that. Or if you want to dress up and that really adds to your oral presentation, then do that. What else would you do? I had one student one year bring chocolates into class because his topic, I don't actually quite remember what it was. It wasn't about chocolates, but he used chocolates as an analogy to explain a comparison between two things. So I think he brought in white chocolate and dark chocolate. So yeah, that was really fun. As long as it adds to your piece, I think that's the most important takeaway. Okay. Jerome says, is it better to memorize a whole speech or just the main points? I don't think I can memorize a whole speech. Look, neither did I. Neither did I. So my speech was 5 minutes long and it took me a week to memorize. And the tip for you is to memorize little bits every day. So you don't just spend the entire time, just going through your entire essay and rereading it. Just memorize sentences at a time. So start off with maybe like your introduction the first day. Try to memorize that. Once you've got that down, move on to the next. Once you've got down the next bit, move on to the next. That's how I feel I was able to memorize my entire speech. I think, don't doubt yourself. Like, don't undermine your brain's capacity to do really well and to stretch beyond what you know. Okay. Thanks for saying thank you, guys. I'm glad I'm helping you guys. Okay. So we're probably going to leave it there very shortly. I will stay on for a few more minutes. So let me know your final questions for me. It's getting really hot in here. I'm going to watch Aladdin tonight. It's my first theatre, like ever since I was a little kid. Like I don't actually remember ever going to the theatre before. So yeah. I can't wait. So just remember, if you guys need any tips for oral presentations or if you need any help on your oral topics, then just head to my website, vcstudyguides.com, because there are a lot of tips there for you. I've written up a lot of blogs to help you guys. So, the resources for you are endless. I love sharing with you guys my experience because I think that, the more exposure you guys get, the better you guys can do, and that's what matters the most. Okay, beautiful. I think you guys have pretty much got it there. Okay, we'll do one more question. Lucky last is Amy. What do you think is the best structure for a speech? So the best structure for a speech personally would be to have actually maybe I'll do a video on this. I should do a video on this at some point. Okay, so I will do a video on this at some point. but I'll just tell you guys really quickly. First paragraph will be your introduction. Second paragraph is to explain what your topic is about. So even if it's just a couple of sentences, I would still explain your topic, even if it's really obvious. So for myself, I did teenage binge drinking. Everybody knows what binge drinking means, but I still defined it and I explained why it was an issue and what teenage binge drinking was. So I think what I said was binge drinking is when people drink excessively in order to get drunk. And so like that's not something that people actually know. Like people don't usually know how to explain what binge drinking means. They just know that it's like drinking a lot, right? But being able to redefine it for my audience made sure that everyone was on the same page. Then I would go into 3 body paragraphs where you have one main argument per body paragraph. Make sure that your arguments are very clear. Make sure they do not overlap one another because that will definitely weaken your overall speech. And then at the end, have your conclusion. So with your conclusion, try to end it also in a way that's going to be engaging. Don't just go, and that's all. Thank you so much. Bye. That's boring. End it off in a way that's just going to just suddenly end. And I think I ended off with a rhetorical question to leave people thinking. But just like what we talked about with introductions, find inspiration wherever you've found something to end in a really interesting way, whether it's movies, books, videos on YouTube. Seek them out and create something original for yourself. Okay, awesome. Oh, Monique, thanks for letting me know Aladdin is dope. I am going to have a lot of fun. Thanks, Prue. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. It means so much to me that you guys join with me, during your summer holidays. So the next live stream is going to be, I believe, on a Saturday. And I will keep you guys updated on that. I wanted to make it on a weekend because I know that you guys have school and we're going to be talking about text response. So that's a big one that I know a lot of people have questions about. So thank you again for being here with me. Let me know any questions you have, either by commenting on videos, and I also now have access to this stream on YouTube. Like if you go onto the YouTube app, you might see me posting a few things, so you can ask me questions there as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holidays. There's only a few days to go, so don't study too hard, make the most out of it. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day.